Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Chin-Quee Chats, the bite-sized podcast where we talk movies, sports, and everything in between. I am your host, Matthew Chin-Quee, and with me, I have guest Ravi Patel. How are you doing, Ravi?
I'm pretty good. How's it going?
It's a little hot. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody says it's not hot in Canada, but it is. It gets pretty hot.
Like, the thing is, it's like, it goes between, like, 14 degrees, and the next day is, like, 29 degrees, and it's, like...
Yeah, like...
It's terrible.
Canada's so bipolar. It'll be, like, snowing, or it'll be you need your air conditioner on full blast,
yeah,
or
I know,
else
exactly.
you're gonna die, right?
It's terrible.
Anyways, we actually met in high school. Do you want to just briefly go over how we met, how we were introduced?
Yeah, like, I don't know if I actually personally met you the first time I, like, knew you, I guess. I think I saw you in the hallway. And then I was on Facebook, and then I saw your name, like, hey, I know this guy. I'll add him on Facebook. And then after that, you added me back. And then, like, 5 minutes later, you posted on my wall, like, do I know you?
Yeah, I remember that. I almost forgot that story because that was way back in grade 9. So, like, might sound a little creepy, like, if you're in university, like, you just see some guy and you walk by and you add them. But, I mean, grade 9, everybody knows each other, right? So, yeah. And then we kind of met up after that and just kind of became good friends.
Yeah.
And you're one of the only high school friends that I went with who knows a lot about film or has a passion for film.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's a pretty good observation, I guess. I never really noticed that, but actually, even in high school, yeah, there was a lot of interest in film that I had. In grade 10, I took film class, and then we made films with like Daniel Brenneman and Eddie Nern, Sam Calderon. Shout outs to those guys. Yeah, it was really great. Like, even then, coming out of high school, I was still invested in film and all that kind of stuff. So it's great to see Matt out here doing film.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Well, that's a good segue into our cinema chat segment where we're going to talk in honor of the upcoming Dunkirk. Well, by the time this is released, Dunkirk will have been out for 2 days. Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance to go and see it, I'm sure it's probably great.
Definitely going to see it eventually. So.
Yeah. By the time this is out, I'll probably will have a chance to see it, but as of right now, haven't. But we'll be back real quick with our top 3 Nolan films. Okay, so cinema chat. Christopher Nolan, he's, in terms of directors, I mean, you have people like the big directors like Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese, but Chris Nolan, he's still relatively young, but he's one of those directors that even the general audiences will know about. Yeah,
like, he made it big pretty quick, I think, compared to like other directors. Like, within like 5 to 10 years, he went from Memento to like Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Or 5 years. That was like 4 years.
Yeah, that was 5 years in between them.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
yeah,
he's only been making films since 98, I think. It was his first feature-length film. And then to go from, it's not even a 20-year span.
Yeah.
He's one of the biggest directors and known as, some people, a lot of the younger generation like us or even younger than us, they have him up there as their favorite director of all time.
What's crazy is that, like, with Christopher Nolan, it's like, with a lot of directors, or a lot of franchises, like, big budget movies, it has to be, like, foundation on a franchise, or, like, a reboot, or a sequel. Whereas with Christopher Nolan, it's like, if he pitches an idea, like, Warner Brothers is down, like, they're down for it. Like,
it's his name is the franchise.
Yeah, his name is, like, if you put his name on a movie, it's like, it's sold right away from the producers right there. I mean,
it's never going to sell as much as something like Star Wars or like Marvel will, but you slap Chris Nolan's name on it, and that, I mean, the way I'm saying it's like Chris Nolan will put his name on everything. He's very picky about the amount of films, but when he does a film, it's a spectacle. Like, people, I remember I've been hearing about Dunkirk hype for over a year now. And exactly. Now it's finally out, and people, they have the quote-unquote Nolanites, the people who follow him religiously. Yeah. Like, it's almost a cult at this point. They love him so much.
No, he's a very good, like, he makes big-budget movies that are very, I think, one of the most intellectual movies, like, made today, too.
Yeah.
Like, they're still very intelligent movies to watch, and, like, people still decipher them and, like, analyze them, like, to death, pretty much.
Yeah, he's, the Screen Junkies actually came out with their honest trailer, and they said for the Michael Bay for people who read books.
Yeah,
and you know what? That's so true. That he's a blockbuster director, or not even all of his films are blockbusters, but he's a high profile director
Yeah.
who's actually who works almost like an indie director at the same time with more themes and stuff. But going into that now, we're going to do our top 3 films by Christopher Nolan. So Ravi, do you want to give your number 3 film starting at the bottom?
So number 3 for me, I'd say it's The Prestige.
Mm-hmm.
With Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Michael Caine, obviously, you want to give me a synopsis of it, I guess?
Sure.
Basically, it's like these magicians. It's hard to explain it. I guess they're just it's a competition between 2 magicians trying to get like the better magic trick.
Yeah,
that's the essential story of it. But they're so obsessed with perfecting their trick that they go through means of like pretty far extents to do what they want to do, pretty much, and it's like all competition for that.
Yeah, and The Prestige is actually my number 1. So I absolutely love this movie. But I think what I like best about this is it's for a drama. There's no cut and clean villain. You'll have Borden, who's I believe he's played by Christian Bale, and you have the other dude played by Hugh Jackman. I forget, but
Angier.
Angier. And neither one of them is really in the right, and neither one of them is in the wrong.
Yeah,
like there's no bad guy you can point to. It's like, oh, that guy's obviously the bad guy. We have to cheer for him, but
like you sympathize with both of them.
Yeah, you can because you can understand where both they're coming from. And that movie also has a great supporting cast from Scarlett Johansson. I know a lot of people, they don't like her British accent in it, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, it just I didn't really detract anything for me. So
yeah, like if you didn't realize that was Scarlett Johansson, the big name that she is, I'm pretty sure she'd just be fine in her role. But also Rebecca Hall's in it. She plays Borden's wife, and she's one of my favorite actresses just because she's in The Town, and that's like depending on the day, it's my favorite movie of all time. I mean, other than Star Wars, but Star Wars gets put to the side. But she's also one of the most underrated actresses in my opinion, and she's really great in this film as well. And then of course you have Michael Caine, who's literally a staple.
He's literally in every Nolan movie.
Yeah,
except Memento, and I don't know. I haven't seen it.
He's in 6 of them, I believe. I know this because I was preparing some trivia questions about Nolan, but yeah, he's in 6, and I think that's the most out of anybody he's actually worked with.
Yeah.
But of course, Prestige. When someone watches it, everybody talks about. We're gonna go into spoilers now, but the movie's been out since 2006. That twist. Oh my god. I saw it twice, but the first time I saw it was like, it was really crazy. Like it was such a simple twist. Yeah. It's just like it's just twins, really. Mm-hmm. But like the way they pulled it off, it's kind of like a big reveal at the end. It was actually really well done. Like I was so enamored by it, and the way it ended with like a hole in the basement with Hugh Jackman's like bodies in the tank. That was so crazy. I was just like, what just the heck? To show just how far Angier was willing to go, just how crazy. Yeah, it pretty puts that down, like how obsessed he was with just trying to make a better trick than his competition. But in reality, like this guy was just chilling, like just making. He has a brother. I mean, and conversely though, he let his brother die. Just to one him up. Like they're both equally nuts. And he cut his finger off just to. Yeah. Like anything for the trick. Yeah, just for the trick. I mean, I actually had that part spoiled for me. I was watching for the first time, and in one part of the movie, his twin brother is his assistant, right? He's dressed up as assistant, and I was like, who's that actor? I know I've seen him before. Oh, really? So I'm Googling him. I'm like, I can't find anything. So then I Googled up the actor for this dude, and it was like Christian Bale. I'm like, no. I spoiled it for myself. But even after just watching it knowing that there's a twist, or even watching for the second time after you see the twist, what Chris Nolan is so good at, with why he's so genius, he leaves little hints in there too. Yeah, that you can see. It's kind of like in The Sixth Sense. The twist. Everybody knows the twist by now. Yeah, that the guy was dead. But in The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis, nobody looks at him in the entire movie. Nobody actually looks at him except Haley Joel Osment. There's these little details in the Prestige that are like that. Yeah, where you can see that there are twins. Even when he's talking to his wife, it's like, "Do you love me?" Yeah, I know. It's one of them loves her, but the other one doesn't, and it's like And in the movie, you think it's like,
It's just-
maybe it's just because
he's emotionally like different now or something. He's changed, but it's like,
or
it's
he's
like
so invested
totally
into
different
his
person,
trick that day.
yeah. And then even like the minor character that he plays, I don't know his name, like who that character, like the assistant that of like the old guy. He's such a minor character that he's just like in the background. Like, you don't even see him, and it's like, oh, I totally forgot about this guy. And it's like, oh, he happened to be him, and it's like, oh, what the hell? It's
and
crazy.
I think, and I can't speak for Chris Nolan himself. Obviously, I wasn't involved in the production of this movie. I don't know him, but I feel like just watching this movie, it's presented much like a magic trick as well. Because when you do a magic trick, it's all about, hey, look here. You guys can't see my hands, obviously, but hey, look here when something else is happening over here. And something else is going on in the background. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I never thought of that. I know, like the whole movie itself. I feel like if you analyze it, it's a very big. It's a kind of like an analogy of the 3 stages.
Exactly.
Of like a magic trick, where the prestige is like the final twist, I guess. But obviously, that's the case.
And it very much culminates in that.
Exactly. And then the whole ending, man. Like it was very dark. Like it was very the way Michael Caine narrating the ending there, and it was just like he started from the beginning, saying the same thing that he said at the end.
But you get more context.
Exactly. It makes more sense now, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. This is that's really cool.
Now it's not so much fun. It's kind of dark.
Yeah, exactly. It has like a different meaning to it for sure.
Well, speaking of dark, you thought I was going to talk about Dark Knight, but we're actually going to talk about Memento. So Memento is my number 3 film for Nolan, and I did talk about that honest trail earlier today, and I did have some things pointed out. I've only seen this movie once, but it's still stuck with me just because of how unique it is.
Yeah.
Now it's a guy who's looking for the murderer of his wife, the person who killed his wife, but he also has retrograde amnesia. So the movie is going backwards and forwards at the same time. That non-linear thing. It's really trippy.
No, it totally was. Like I didn't even notice that like it was doing that until like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, some part of it's black and white, some part of it's in color. And the part going in reverse is in color, whereas the part going forward where he's talking on the phone, that's in black and white. And I was like, oh, why is there such a difference in like what's going on here? And then I realized, oh, okay, this one's going backwards. And it's just like, is what I found really interesting about that movie is that you see the ending at the beginning, pretty much, right? And then on the way towards like the actual end of the movie, you see how one little building block sort of accumulated into what that big decision was at the end, which is technically at the beginning of the movie, which is really fascinating. Like the whole with like, I'm gonna spoil it too. Like with
fine.
At the end of the movie, which is technically the beginning with Teddy, he said he took a picture of him. He's like, don't believe his lies.
Yeah.
And that one single sentence just like
it motivates him throughout the
entire movie. It's just like, don't believe anything he says. Like then he just kills him at the end, like in the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
It's very much how like how you're doing a puzzle and you see the big picture of the puzzle, but you don't know how to get there. You have all the pieces, but it's also like you're putting the pieces together and then you're destroying them and then putting them back together again, all in a just weird jumbled sequence.
You kind of have to think of like it kind of forces you to think about the movie because like it's presented in a way that's not linear, obviously. So you have to, it gives you pieces, and then you in your own mind you have to put those pieces together. Like it's not given to you, which is what I appreciate about that movie actually. However, the flaw I have with that movie is just like by the end or like I guess the beginning, I really had no idea what was going on with Jimmy, the other character, like the guy in the suit. Yeah,
that film, there's a lot of it that's remains ambiguous, and it's kind of hard to follow. Like even with, especially with the non-linearness, because you're trying to keep track of the facts, just like how, I don't remember the main character's name.
I don't know.
Just like how
Lenny.
Just like how Lenny is trying to keep the facts together. We can't really keep the facts together either. And others have pointed out the story itself. We've kind of seen it before. It's a guy trying to go after his wife's murderer, but it's the way that Nolan pieces it together. His ability to take a simple story and really jumble it up and make it more interesting. Yeah. I think that's why that film is so brilliant, in my opinion. Actually,
what I found interesting about Memento was that with the character, he's not really, like the character in that movie, like the main character Lenny, he's not very he's not redeemed for his decision, or like what he doesn't really learn his lesson. I don't think. Like at the beginning, you kind of see, or at the end of the movie, which is the beginning, you see that like he was already told that he killed his wife technically,
Yeah.
and that he found the killers and killed them already. But he's still on this quest of revenge, and it's just like it's this constant cycle of that, and it's just like he never learned his lesson, which I found that kind of like it was a very weird message to convey, but I guess that's the beauty of the movie, I guess. But yeah.
Okay, so your number 2 film.
My number 2 film. I would say it's Inception.
Okay, that's actually my number 2 as well. So, I mean, we can just go ahead and start.
So yeah, I think you guys probably all saw Inception, anyways. But it was just the way it. I guess a brief synopsis of it is that it's like these guys they invade dreams to get information from, say, like some important people, just information from their minds. And the whole premise, the main thing they're trying to do is trying to convince. The main storyline was they're trying to convince some CEO's son to like not continue on with the company, and you have to plant that idea in his mind that you shouldn't do that. Just for, I guess the reasoning for the purpose of Inception was for personal profit, technically. Yeah. But like the way if it was presented, like the way it was done, was actually kind of beautiful. With the ending where he realizes that like his dad doesn't want him to be who he wants him to be, which is like.
I mean, but ultimately that idea
is not even real.
Idea. It's kind of that's what's kind of messed up about it. Like,
I know.
The guy has the character has this revelation about his father, and that never actually
happened. And
like okay. In reality, his dad probably didn't actually like him at all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Inception, I think what's so cool about it, it's a heist movie.
Yeah.
But it's a heist movie with almost a weird sci-fi twist. Like it's almost sci-fi.
Yeah.
In that these dream machines that don't actually exist.
That'd be really cool if it did exist.
That would be.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. We could go on about
it. Yeah, no,
what we do in these dreams. Like fly around or like create, I don't know, like
big crazy worlds.
Like Transformers you can ride in, or like.
That'd be so sick. That's like a Transformer though.
But like good Transformers, not like Bay Transformers.
Yeah.
Like what if you like went into a dream and became a Transformer?
I guess so. Like that'd be so weird. Like all the metal on you, like machines, like transforming into like a car.
But then you could like shoot stuff, or you could be that one big one with the gigantic balls in number 2.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, sure. We're not gonna talk about Transformers. Like jeez.
Anyways, the dreams. It's I think what's so cool about this film is that Nolan created this entire world with Jonathan Nolan, his brother, he frequently writes with him, and he created this world from scratch. Like this didn't really exist anywhere else.
Yeah.
He got some inspiration from a few paintings, like the Penrose staircase, this thing that doesn't end, like the paradoxes. One thing I don't quite get is how people say they don't understand this movie. Like, I think this movie's...
It's pretty... I guess it's pretty understandable, I guess. If you want to, like, divulge, like, really analyze it, you can pick up so many things from it.
Yeah.
And, like... But at the core of it, like, on the first viewing, like, it makes sense, I feel.
Yeah, for the most part, you can understand what's going on. There is that heist... That heist main plot, but there's a subplot about how Cobbs has to deal with the death of his wife, and how he's trying to get back to his kids. And there's a whole psychological aspect where you don't know what exactly is real, when is real, because the dreams look exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's paradoxes in there, and great. There's some great action sequences as well, like with the like snowmobiles
and like the hallway.
Yeah, and
that was amazing. Yeah, like I think the thing with Inception, I really like that movie because like it really combined good action and good story together. Like I know that it's very like you can see good action and good story together, and in a lot of movies, but like with that, I feel like the story connected with the emotional side of the characters, and like that also like the whole dream thing was like. It was so meta at the time, like even now it's still meta. Like it's crazy. Like it's such an action movie of that kind of scale and of that sort of premise. it's like it's never been done, or like I've never seen something like that before.
It's almost this is gonna sound like really pretentious, but like it's a thinking man's piece that's accessible to everybody else. Like it's a little bit deeper film, but it also has those elements, and it's also simple enough that people can follow. Yeah,
I actually think it's one of Nolan's like most accessible films for everyone. Like everyone will watch it, everyone will understand what's the general bulk of what's going on.
Like if I'm introducing someone to Nolan, I'm not going to start them off with Memento or Interstellar or something like that, because those are some like those are more complicated. But something like Inception, it's complicated enough where you can understand why people love Nolan so much, but it's also easy enough to understand.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I think Inception was a very contained movie too, like in terms of plot and like characters. They'd all kind of be related to each other in some sort of way, and the whole heist element of it was what kind of made it entertaining to watch as well. Otherwise, if it was just like a simple drama, it'd be kind of I'd see it being more very artistically kind of pretentious on that level. But at the same time, it's like an action movie. It has those gunfights, it has those fight scenes, and that's what makes it entertaining to watch, and that heist kind of aspect of it, which is really great.
Well, speaking of accessible Nolan films, perhaps one of the most accessible one is your number one pick.
Yeah, my number one pick is definitely going to be Dark Knight. I saw this movie like at least 100 times within like 2008, 2010. That whole period of time was just like, I knew the dialogue in that movie line to line. And it's like a long movie too, so like I'd watch it so many times. Like every single action sequence I knew by heart, like shot for shot. It was amazing. Like I love that movie so much. Basically, if you don't know it, it's a story of Batman trying to catch the Joker. Yeah, it's just Batman versus the Joker. That's what it is. Harvey Dent's in it. Like he becomes Harvey Two-Face, which was like another amazing. Like I think, obviously, Dark Knight is obviously a very heavily acclaimed film, and like obviously talking about it's like it's only adding more to the acclaim and like the hype of it. But I think if you look at superhero movies now, they would not be where they are without The Dark Knight.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Even the current DCEU right now, they're very much modeling themselves, or they were. I think they're starting to go in a different direction with Wonder Woman. But even from Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, they were trying to keep that grittiness, the realism that Dark Knight said. Like Batman Begins, that is obviously the first one in the trilogy, and it is a good film, but Dark Knight took it to another level in terms of painting Batman and taking Batman, someone who was ridiculous, even in Batman 89 with Tim Burton. That's a great film in and of itself, but it's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say zany because it is a relatively serious film, but it takes Batman, a fictional character, and throws him into our world and says, what if Batman was in our world, and what if the Joker was in our world? What would he do? Joker doesn't have laughing gas in this thing. Or, or like a Harley Quinn with laughing hyenas or anything like they would in the animated show. Like the Joker is, he's somebody who conceivably you could see in this world, person. Someone who's just snapped, and someone who is, to quote the film, just wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously Heath Ledger was like he did an amazing job. Like honestly, one of the best villains in a comic book movie, or like in any movie.
Honestly, in any movie ever.
Movie, like, what I found interesting about Dark Knight was the transition between Batman Begins and Dark Knight. Like Batman Begins, it was still dark. Like it was still like a grim sort of movie. But it was still sort of comic book in the sense like I found little like visual elements, like the Wayne Tower was like it was like a CGI like tower, whereas like in Dark Knight, like there's all the buildings, like all the Gotham City itself is like, it was literally like, it looks like Chicago, like it was filmed in Chicago, so it looks like Chicago. It looks like an actual city that like you could live in and like inhabit, and like that sort of made it, I would say it made it less of a comic book movie and more of like a crime drama.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like that Batman Begins, it has fantastical elements like the League of Shadows. I mean,
like Scarecrow was so
Scarecrow. I mean, Scarecrow's even in Dark Knight, but it's a different role than he was in than he is in Dark Knight. Like Dark Knight it's it's basically, yeah, as you said, it's a crime drama akin to like something like The Heat or even The Town, which came out a few years after that. It's just crime, and that just happens to have Batman. It happens to be comic booky, and I think that's why it got acclaim from not only comic book fans but
like
just
everyone,
film fans in general, film critics, even the snootiest film, like the most pretentious.
Yeah,
ones.
exactly. There's like a whole basis around the mafia too, and like the banks, and like honestly, when I was a kid, like I think it came out in 2008, and I was like I don't know, I was like young, but like all those references to the mafia and like banks and like trace bills and stuff made no sense. I just like the action, but now I watch it and it's like, yo, this movie's actually really intelligent with like how these mafia people are like putting their money in the banks, and like Joker's targeting these banks, trying to get their attention, and he's like, yeah, you got to kill it. Like he's trying to convince them to like change their priorities towards Batman, and it's really cool how like that dichotomy plays out with Joker and the mafia, and like he's independent of the mafia, but at the same time the mafia kind of needs him for like what they want to do, which is really cool. Like goals. It kind of added that nice sort of gangster vibe to it, you know. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to leave our Nolan discussion. So our top 3 in order, mine was Memento, Inception, and Prestige, and then Ravi's, yours was
mine was Prestige, Inception, and Dark Knight.
All right, there you have it. That's it for Cinema Chat. We'll be right back for Free Chat. We're going to talk about something still movie related, but it'll be, well, you'll see in about 5 seconds. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back with Free Chat. Still with Ravi Patel. I haven't got rid of him yet. He's going to be gone right after we finish this.
Too bad.
So you had mentioned earlier that in grade 10 you had started taking an interest into the production of film. You'd even taken a film class. Now, I remember in grade 10, you and some other guys that we knew, you made a fake documentary, a mockumentary as the people call it. I forget what it's called. Something about dragons.
The Warmth of the Dragon's Breath. I made it with Daniel Bredeman, Sam Calderon, and Eddie Nerd. Yeah, my boys. It was great fun. Basically, it was just a documentary or mockumentary about these 2 filmmakers from England, trying to make the next big epic fantasy film called The Warmth of the Dragon's Breath. And honestly, like, so much fun filming that. Like, that was one of the first movies that it was the second movie we made that term, but like it was the first sort of long movie we made, and I think that sort of garnered my interest in the actual craft of filmmaking.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, because normally you're not showing film, like student films in class, but like our grade 11 English class, I almost said professor, the teacher made a point to stop, and we were all going to watch it just because of how famous it got kind of within our grade. Like everybody was talking about it, everybody was laughing at it, because it was legitimately really funny. I'm not just saying that because we're friends. Like I legitimately thought it funny. I still think it's pretty funny today. Like it's up there with production levels, obviously.
It's up there with Interstellar.
It's up there with, you know what, it's up there with Prestige. Yeah, like, it's just as good as that. I'm pretty sure you're the next Nolan.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, thank you so much. I didn't direct that one. That was well, I guess we kind of collaborated on that one, actually. That movie was a lot of fun to make. Like, it was, the fun thing about it was that we really didn't have time to film. We had like a week, because the way our group worked was that we were just so procrastinating. Like we did it like last minute. We had like a whole month to do it, but we did it in the last week, and then we just did it after school. Literally, I was a cameraman. So I was the guy doing the documentary film, and I was filming these 2 guys, Daniel Bredeman and Sam Calderon. And it was honestly, they pretty much just, I think they improv most of it, or like at least ad-libbed it. And then it was just like me with the camera, just like filming, like just shaking it, like wherever they wanted, wherever they were, just like that kind of style. And I think that kind of style, that alt comedy, is what I really enjoyed. And like even now I still do it, like with the films that I make today. It's just, it's funny, and it's you don't need time, you don't need preparation to do it, but at the same time it still gets the comedy out of there. Like it still makes it funny.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you and ask how that transitioned into the films that you're making today, the short YouTube films. Like we were talking before, I was gonna call you the Brown Filthy Frank, because they're very they're out of this world. They're strange, but they're also really funny. A lot like Filthy Frank's videos.
Thanks, yo. Like I watch a lot of Filthy Frank, I guess. Like I like that kind of humor where it's like it's kind of meme humor, but it's not. You're not paying ode to a meme. You're making like a meme itself.
It's just really weird shit.
It's weird. Yeah, it's just funny. Weird. Like it's people usually will be like disgusted by it. Not disgusted, but like they'll
they're
be
just
like
gonna be like
appalled by it. Like what the hell is this? Like what the hell's happening on screen? Like I have no idea. But like I find that very funny. Like it grants you the opportunity to do really dumb shit with like your characters and like the story itself. Like if I have a movie called Declan.exe, I made with my friends from high school. You probably know them too. And like honestly, we were just having fun filming this movie. Like it had serious moments, but like the whole bulk and the whole reason why we do it is just it's that fun moment where you're just like you have the camera in your hands and you're just pointing at something, you're just zooming and like filming dialogue, just having quick stupid dialogue between each other. And like that's just the fun of it. It's funny to do. It's fun to make. It's even fun. It's so fun to edit too, just because it's like every time you watch it over and over again, you're just laughing every time.
And I think that when you're like not a professional filmmaker, you're not someone who's looking to do this for the rest of their life in terms of making it a career, I think that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even making it his career, I'm sure, like I know just off the top of my head, someone like J.J. Abrams, a big director like that, he used to just make films with his friends on his Super 8, on a little camera and just make fun films, because at the end of the day, if films are all entertainment and you want to have fun doing it, right?
Yeah. Like I do want to push, like as a dream, as like a sort of goal in life, I want to do pushing like the film industry, like as a director or like a writer or filmmaker. But and the thing is, I think the reason why I do it, like the reason why we make films the way we do, is because we have I have a general distaste for student films, and it's not
they're really,
they're so seriously made. Yeah. Like they're really well made. Like the camera, cinematography, like all that stuff. Acting is good. Like it's so serious to a point where it's like it doesn't really the whole spectacle of it is the seriousness and like the art of it, not the story.
It seems very much like you're just doing this for a festival. You're just doing this to make it, and you're not doing it from the heart, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I wanted like what fascinates me about like that comedy style of like alt comedy, like the meme humor. It's like it's funny and it's against the norm. Like that Declan.exe I submit in my other video Waves. I submitted it to the UTM Film Festival, which is in Mississauga. And it was just a student film festival. And like, honestly, that like, out of all the films I saw there, that was like the funniest one. Like, Declan.exe and Waves were the funniest ones. Just because like, we were trying to be funny and like,
so you're humble too. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like, jeez. But it was funny because like, people came up to me and like, Declan was there too. And like, my university friends were there. They're just like, yo, really thank you for submitting this film, because like they had to sit through 12 hours of like really heavy-handed, serious student films, and then they just see mine, which is like a 20-minute long stupid fest of just like dumb jokes and like funny like humor and stuff like that. And they kind of like they just thanked me for it, like thanks for submitting this. It was so entertaining to watch, and that's why we put it in. And it's just like going against the norm like that, I think is more beneficial for, I guess, in a filmmaking career. I don't know, I haven't gotten success in filmmaking, but like I've gotten attention. Like you get attention from doing things outside of the norm.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I want to do if I want to be in a film career, just going against the norm.
Well, yeah, there's a dime a dozen. You can get a serious student film a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Right? But with something that's as unique and it's coming just from the mind of you and your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's obviously gonna it's gonna stand out. So where can people actually find these?
Oh, you can go on YouTube. You can just type in Declan.exe. Literally just on YouTube, or Waves. Waves is not like, it's a pretty common title, so you won't find it on YouTube. But
you'll probably find something Kanye or
something. You can go on my Instagram. It's linked to my Instagram too, and my Twitter. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. With Declan.exe though, I wouldn't watch it on your mobile phone because it doesn't work on your mobile phone because there's a copyright strike on it. because there's like a song that we play in there that's like it's lit, but it's not for they ban it on mobile, so you have to watch it on your PC.
Yeah, YouTube's rules. I'll definitely leave all those links.
Yeah.
Links in the description. You mentioned your Twitter and Instagram. Where can people find you there?
My Instagram is Revilinator.
I'll probably leave that in the description.
And same with my Twitter. Yeah. Yeah. You'll see it on there.
All right. So I think that's all the time we have for the free chat, and that actually ends this episode. So if you guys made it all the way to the end and you were willing to listen to me and Ravi talk this entire time, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
You guys can find me on Twitter. I just launched a new Twitter just dedicated to this podcast at CQ_chats, and then my personal Twitter, Chin-Quee96. Everything, as always, is in the description. If you guys can take the time out on iTunes, give a 5-star rating to this podcast, it really helps the exposure for this for the show. And I will chat with you guys next week.